It's such a weird trick. You can write something and think it's horrible. And the next day or the next
You're
week,
like, it slaps.
you listen to it and you're like, oh my gosh,
Literally.
wait.
Get ready. It's time. Christina, Catherine, Lisa, Amy, and Lauren. Welcome to the Cimorelli podcast.
Hey, I'm Christina.
I'm Catherine.
I'm Amy.
I'm Lauren.
And we're Cimorelli. Welcome back to
The
Cimorelli podcast.
We're back for another week.
Hey guys, did you miss us? Because we're back. Oh, this is me now. Okay, great.
Tell them.
Okay, this is episode 222. And we are going to talk about songwriting and how we have written songs and all the different ways that we've like written them, because not every song is written the same exact way. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but we're going to go through some of our processes. Is that how you?
Yeah.
And how things come together and how we do it, because like I think every person writes songs differently,
And even a lot of our songs are written very differently, you know? So it's
And we
interesting to
don't-
see the difference.
We don't almost ever talk about this for some reason. I think
Yeah.
because I thought nobody cares, but we asked you guys on Instagram, like, what do you want to see an episode on? And one of the most popular answers, there was like 4 most popular, one of them was songwriting. So I was like, okay, I guess people do care.
It is
so
interesting. Yeah.
we're going to do it. For some reason, I thought you guys didn't give a rip, but that's what we're going to do today. So let's start with our highs and lows. I already know my high off the bat,
I love it.
and Catherine will appreciate it.
Let's go.
So, am I dumb, or did I just figure this out and it's not common knowledge? I didn't know that you can get the most like fine type of steel wool, which is like 0000, and use it on glass, aka your shower door. Did everyone know this?
Oh my gosh.
I didn't know this.
Oh.
Because
How'd you learn it?
because I was like, the like hard water, whatever stuff will not
That's my
come
problem
off,
too.
which I'm like, excuse me.
You'll love it.
I need to try
So
that.
I was horrified. Well, I didn't finish the whole thing yet. So I looked up and they're like, oh, try this cleaner, whatever. So I'm getting a new cleaner. I haven't tried this yet. And they're like, and try steel wool. So I took, so this is what I did. I didn't try cleaning it, but the steel wool got there. I was really excited. So I took it in the shower. I went to take a shower and I was like, I just want to take one of the steel wool things with me and just do a little scrub while I'm showering for fun.
That is so
And I
fly
just
lady of
started-
you.
I just started scrubbing and I was like,
Without cleaner?
with no cleaner. And when I got it, I was like, whoa, that just removed most of it. And it looks,
Oh
I
my
didn't even
gosh.
clean it.
I
I was
gotta
just like
try that.
checking it out. And it was fun. And there was no cleaner. And it took off so much stuff. I was shook.
That's
So that was
pretty
the high
uncommon.
because I couldn't believe that it worked.
Wow.
That is
Good
a
for you.
high.
And there's nothing like a really, really clean shower.
Oh
to
my
put you in a
gosh.
great
It is
mood.
luxury.
Am I right?
It is luxury.
That's the high of my week.
Love it.
The low of my week is that it was just one of those times
We just can't seem to win.
when you just can't. Yeah, I was gonna say, just one of those times when you're just like, it was just one of those times where you're just like, am I a failure? That's my biggest thing. That's as I had that word for you're worth it. We all picked a word. Failure. That's one of my biggest things. My biggest.
I will say,
problems.
I think my word still rings true. Do you guys feel like
What
that?
was your word?
Mine was burden.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
like being
mine-
afraid to have any needs because you're always like,
Yeah.
Mine was freak and invisible.
Still rings
I'm
true.
still an invisible freak.
I was
you said that with so much charm.
does everyone go through a regular mental breakdown about their word where you're like, am I a freak? You're like,
I
am I invisible?
Maybe what was
do.
yours?
Mine was like
No.
afraid.
Oh yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
am I
yeah.
afraid?
That is an insecurity.
So anyway, I had one of those where I'm like, I'm failing at everything. I suck at everything. I do that a lot. And then I got out of that.
Love it. Amen, sister.
So that was mine. Next.
I would say my low was just the contrast. If you guys know my Fly Lady cleaning journey. Sorry, William, for saying Fly Lady. I know it's triggering, but
It triggers our sound. I was like, what is he? Sound guy who also does videos and edits.
our team member. Anyway, I was so on it last week. I literally was caught up on pretty much all my laundry, which never happens. Our laundry room is usually full, but I caught up on all of it and I was feeling so good about my routines. And then I don't know what it was. I just was not feeling great this week. Like, it's just one of those weird, like,
I think this week is weird in the ether.
yeah, it's like headaches, stomach aches, just I was like, did I eat something? Do I just, I don't know. I just didn't feel great this whole week.
Me too. I had weird stomach aches yesterday.
Do you
Yes.
guys think that
We all keep
certain
having
weeks
stomach
or
aches and
days
headaches?
have weird vibes just in the universe?
Perhaps.
Like, I
But
think
yeah,
that they do.
I just can tell about how
Maybe
bad my
for
week
us.
is going by how my routines are.
Yes.
And my house is not clean. And my routines, I mean, I did make my bed this morning. That was a big victory.
That's good.
But yeah, I don't
I never
know.
make
I
my
just
bed.
don't like looking around and seeing all my little messes, and I'm like, ugh, I'm failing. Not that I feel like, I don't know. I don't want to put my worth in it, but it really does make me feel
But
less
it's
stressed.
relaxing. When
Yeah.
everything's clean, just like you look around
Yeah.
and you're like, oh.
well, it's
and-
not
yeah.
about it not being clean. It's about you feeling like you don't have time to do it.
Yeah,
or you're
exactly.
like-
And you don't feel as
Like,
comfortable in your
overwhelmed.
space. It
It's-
makes your
yeah.
space the most comfortable and like peaceful atmosphere.
Exactly.
It's the
yeah.
reflection of you feeling overwhelmed. And you're like,
Yes.
ooh, I hate that.
Yeah, so this morning I was like, okay, I only have 5 minutes. I'm just going to set a timer and fold as much laundry as I could. I did like a third of the basket, but still, just trying to catch up, get back to where
feel you.
I was, and then I'll feel good just with my space. But I would say my high random moment, I think, how many of you guys were still there? We were at our parents' house. We did a going away party for our brother who's going off for his next part of seminary. And we were sitting out on the deck and this big summer storm came in.
Oh, yeah.
That was
And it
nice.
was so like out of like it like came in really strong and it was just pouring rain. We were all sitting
I
out
put
on the deck.
Thunder by Boys Like Girls. So
Oh,
it was
you
good.
did, cute. And my twins were just like running around on the deck with my parents, and they were like sitting there with them. It was so cute. It
That
was such a
was
like
cute.
great moment. We never had those moments in California because we don't really have summer storms like that.
True.
It was really cool. So I don't know,
Too real.
random moment, but I
Love
loved
that
it.
for you.
My low was just the weekend was really busy for me, but it was
Yes.
like things that I couldn't just like skip that one. So I just didn't really get to like recharge that much. That was kind of annoying. My high was I went on a country drive.
Ooh,
And
love
wow.
it.
It was like misty, like foggy a little bit, but not like so much that you couldn't see anything. And it was like sunset, mystical fog like
Ooh.
vibes.
Oh, I love that.
Iconic.
And I went on Sunday night and just, thought about things.
Love that.
And it was like a really good like reset for my week. So
Ooh.
that was
Yeah.
good.
I have to say, Tennessee, I think about this all the time. Tennessee is so magical.
It actually
There's so many
really
things
is.
about Tennessee that I'm just like, wow, this is a magical, beautiful place. Like the South,
so
the country,
pretty.
blah, 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 whatever. It is so.
Yeah, because it's summer storms,
Mm-hmm.
lots of like thick green foliage and fireflies.
Yeah.
We don't have those in California. too.
Country roads when you're
Yeah,
out there. It's
country
so-
roads. It's
so
everything's
peaceful,
alive. It's not like
beautiful.
dead. It's just
Yeah.
Oh,
alive.
I love
Yeah,
it.
it's very much alive and it's just so magical. I just love Tennessee. It's so cool
I
and
love
weird and cool that we live here.
Yeah.
so
Think about that all the time.
It's
that I'm like,
wild.
so weird
like,
and
I am
random.
so lucky to live in Tennessee.
Especially since you just were where we grew up. It's like, it's gotta be so strange.
It'll be
Yeah.
10 years since we moved to Tennessee next year.
Wow.
It's just crazy.
I visited California a couple weeks ago and I was just like, wow, I love Tennessee.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that you love it.
The
Mm-hmm.
vibes too, like the Southern hospitality. I was like, that is so real. I didn't realize it till I got out of it.
Yeah.
Too real.
It's like the only 10 I see.
It's Tennessee.
brother.
The only thing we're missing is the ocean. I
I
wish we had
know.
if I could just bring the ocean to Tennessee, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really miss the ocean.
I know.
I feel like I can't remember my life, but yet I can because I've been so busy lately. It's like bus club, another club,
Yeah. It's like I'm just partying every week.
Yes.
And then next weekend, I'm
Every
partying
week
again.
has had so many random like extra work things / social events that are not like just piling up.
Not the
Yeah.
norm.
But it's so there's been a lot of I think I had a lot of fun things happen, but I can't quite remember. You know what? A nice time, a shout out to a nice time was when we went to coffee over the weekend with our
did?
friends. You were there.
Oh, I was there.
It
yeah.
was not rare. We remember it all too well.
Yeah, that was
And
nice.
that was a fun time. We just hung out. I made us sit under an umbrella because they wanted to fillet me alive under the sun. Because it was cloudy and they didn't realize the sun was out. But I didn't get sunburned, and I didn't even wear any sunscreen because I was under an umbrella and no water was reflecting onto me. I didn't get sunburned. So yeah, that was good. Swimming in the pool was good, but I said that last episode. But swimming pool is always good. Here's my low. I've gone to the pool 1 time this week and 1 time last week.
You know how many
That's
times
not
I've gone
right.
this year?
That's un-American.
0.
Me too, 0.
Every time, like,
My goal
I
is to
should
go to the
work
pool 1 time
or
this
I
summer.
should clean.
You need to bring the children, and I'll be there, and then I'll help you. Come to my pool. It's nice. It's just like, it's un-American. You guys,
Well, when's the sun coming back
I'm there
out?
like every day, rain or shine.
Yeah, you
What
need to go
time
back,
do you
girl.
go?
I go all
Anytime,
the time.
day or night.
Doesn't matter where.
She's
It's always
there.
a good time.
The
there.
weather is not really giving cool.
Ooh, my high was when I spent 6 hours at the pool, I think maybe last weekend or the weekend before. And I read a whole book. I made a friend. And I just had a great time. So
Okay.
it's always a high at the pool and the low is when I'm not at the pool. That's how you know my life is unmanageable, is when I am not at the pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how you really know something is wrong.
Oh, yeah. By the way, guys, Asa, aka the baby, is right there on the floor. If you're wondering, when everyone keeps looking at the floor and smiling.
He's laying on a baby mat. It's so cute.
He's so cute.
Ariel's playing with him.
Lisa said he looks like he's AI because he's the most perfect baby.
AI.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if AI did make a baby face, it would look like his.
Yeah.
Wild times.
Okay, that's our highs and lows. If you're wondering where Lisa is, she's supporting her husband through his cancer treatments right now, so please keep their family in your prayers. And also, if you want to see every full episode, we post those only on Patreon. And it's $5 a month. You really support us by being a patron. And you also get a lot of extra content. You get our Monday Q&As. We have past Motivation Monday. Or motivation? What was it?
I think it was
Motivational.
Monday
Motivational
motivation
Monday?
or
Monday Motivate, whatever.
We
you
should
get
bring those back.
You get it. We had those past ones, which were really good, really interesting, really curious, like what we said a while ago. It's pretty interesting. I was watching one of mine. I was like, oh my gosh, that was really good. Yeah, we're thinking of doing those again. And then we have our past, like, things we don't talk about series and Wacky Wednesdays with Lisa. There's a lot of stuff on there and all the past episodes. So there's a lot of good stuff on there. There's a week or a monthly live stream with the patrons on a certain tier. So there's a birthday club. We need to, like, show, like, the birthday club hoodies and stuff. I just realized we should be showing that every week.
Oh.
Yeah, guys, we need to do
Yeah,
that
I
next
gotta put that
time.
on.
Like, we needed to have one in here, and then we show it every week. Or we just have a picture they can pop in, but I feel like it's cool to show it, whatever. Anyway, join our Patreon, patreon.com/Cimorelli. It's linked in the description if you want to support us. It's a great way, and we appreciate you guys so much. Oh, and you get to be Lauren's Take is only questions from patrons, so just saying. Okay, you guys have heard us rave about Green Chef. We are obsessed.
We
Every
love
time
them.
I get that green box.
Oh,
And you've heard us say it is literally some of the best meals. I mean,
literally.
I've tasted new foods because of them. Some of the best meals of my life. So we're going to tell you about one of our sponsors of today's episode, Green Chef. Don't let the back to school season set back your nutrition. Green Chef is making it easy to stick to your healthy eating habits with a new, more flexible menu featuring over 35 customizable recipe options every week. New options include doubling your portion of protein or veggies, or swapping to a plant-based protein like organic tofu, for instance.
Ooh.
Are you dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, vegan? Green Chef has over 15 recipes every week to support those lifestyles and more. You'll also find over 15 weekly recipes that are ready in 25 minutes or less. That is what I need. That's what us busy people, us moms, that's what we need. So you'll have the power to tailor the menu to your needs, satisfying and nourishing everyone in your family in about 30 minutes. Boom! Quality whole foods with limited processed ingredients and organic farm fresh produce in every box make Green Chef the #1 meal kit for clean eating. Green Chef has over 80 weekly menu and market options to satisfy every taste bud. So basically it's a meal kit delivery service. You get this green box at your door and it's full of all these amazing different foods, probably some of you never even tried, fruits, veggies, grains, like they're saying, so fresh, healthy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, yeah.
Just stuff that you feel you just really nourish yourself when you eat these.
Their ingredients are so good.
I'm really in the nourish train, but also they taste amazing.
And they're so easy to cook. So if you have anxiety,
Oh my
it's
gosh.
so easy to follow.
Anxiety about literally so many things. Having to measure things, that's my anxiety. Having to pick things, having to shop for things, blah, blah, blah,
It's
all the
so
stuff.
good.
This takes a lot of the anxiety out, which I really do love. If you want to give Green Chef a try, go to greenchef.com/Cimorelli class for 50% off your first box plus 50 free credits with ClassPass. That is code Cimorelli class, CIMORELLICLASS at greenchef.com/Cimorelli class to get 50% off your first box plus 50 free ClassPass credits. It's linked in the description. Go check out Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Therapy, you guys. We all really need it. We
do.
are all in therapy and have been many a
Therapy up and down the block.
We're very seasoned veterans
Very
of
therapized people.
of therapy, and BetterHelp is a great option for therapy for so many people. It is all online therapy. You fill out a questionnaire, it helps pair you with a therapist, and it's all online from the comfort, the privacy of your own home, and it just pairs you with someone, which is great because why the heck can't I just get paired with a therapist so easily in the real world? So much more difficult. I love that. Pairs you with someone, and then if you need to switch, very easy. Boom, switch.
it.
That's another thing in the real world, more difficult. Switching can be more difficult. So you get paired with someone. I would say it's more uncommon that the first therapist you meet with, whether you're doing BetterHelp or in person, whatever you're doing, the first therapist you meet with is not guaranteed at all to be that right one for you. So do not despair if you get the first therapist and it's like, this is not quite it. It is very normal to be like, this is not quite the right person for me. I need to try someone else. Very normal. Switch, try someone else. BetterHelp is great the way they have the setup that you can do that. So if you're thinking of trying therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You fill out the questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Never skip therapy day with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Cimorelli to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Cimorelli. All right, now we go on to the main topic, which is songwriting.
Woo!
It's weird because I've been getting a lot of questions lately, like in my DMs, about, can you give me songwriting tips?
I wonder if it's because everyone on TikTok, not everyone, but like a lot more music. There's never been as much music available as there is now. So
And songwriting's like a more like accessible thing.
Yeah.
A more normal. It's a more normal
more
than
normalized.
it ever
Yeah.
was, which is great. I think that's
Yeah,
amazing.
express
people
your
on TikTok are
emotions.
like, there's millions of people writing songs, and like, I think it's more, people are like, I can actually do that, instead of it's like, some random person that I don't have a connection to, or the industry kind of thing.
Because would you agree with me, everyone here, I'm guessing will agree, that songwriting is literally one of the best ever outlets.
Yes.
When
Oh
you are
my
feeling
gosh.
anything, you put it into a song, and then you get to listen back to that song and like go
Process.
through your
Yes.
feelings.
Yeah.
Because it's exactly, especially when you write exactly what you are feeling, and it like just comes out perfectly to express the way that you're like, ooh,
Yeah,
That's
that's the best way.
Oh,
good
I was just
segue.
gonna say I have a very iconic story of that. When we were doing the Sad Girls Club album,
Yes.
and I collabed with Lauren for my song Where It All Ended, and I wrote a bunch of I sang a bunch of voice notes and then sent them to Lauren, and then Lauren added some and then put it all together. And
you sent me all these lyrics.
and I sent a
too.
bunch of lyrics too. Yeah, a bunch of poems I'd written about this guy that I was like just broken things off with, and I was really sad. And then Lauren made it into a demo of her singing it. And then literally just the demo, the morning she sent it to me, I was leaving for a 9-hour road trip to Milwaukee. And I think it was pretty much the entire 9 hours. I'm not exaggerating. I listened to the demo on repeat and bawled my ever-loving eyes out.
Yes.
Probably not the best decision when driving. I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But I felt so much better.
So cathartic though.
That was one of the moments that I actually started to get over that breakup. And that was a very mammoth
There's something
breakup.
about hearing your own literal words.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say that is what you're saying. That is the birthplace of a lot. You know, like what is it? Necessity.
is the mother of invention.
Okay, that was the yes. That's what I was going to say.
Mother
That is the birthplace of a lot of our songs because we went, oh, I just had this situation happen to me, or I'm feeling this, and you look for a song to listen to that expresses your feelings, and you can't find
one.
You can't find that like perfect one that just
So
hits
you gotta
the
write
nail on
it.
the head. So you're like, Ace has a lot to say on this. So you're like, I gotta write it. I can't find anything to listen to that is like perfectly describing how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how a ton of our songs came to be. There were so many times I'm just like, ugh, and I just went into my room or whatever, and I'm writing this song out, and I'm like, wait, I gotta show the girls this. Some things they just never see the light of day. Or Lauren and Danny went and snooped around
Oh yeah.
and listened to my private songs and were like, hey, this one's good. Like,
Good.
excuse me? That was my private emotion.
Didn't you
Well,
used to
it was
have like
good.
the song in the keyboard recorded? Wasn't it like you could
That
play
was
it?
not, no. That wasn't like songs with lyrics for the most part. That
right,
was
but I'm
like
saying,
tracks,
couldn't you like
right?
record? Yeah.
Yeah, but that was not this kind of thing. More, these would be like in GarageBand at the time.
Garage band. What a time.
So we were talking about what we should say about this, and we were saying we were going to talk about the different types of ways we have written songs, because there's a few ways we said. So there's writing a song on our own. Each of us has our own individual way of writing. Number one. Number two, there's writing a song, starting a song individually and finishing it as a group. Number three, there's starting a song as a group and finishing it individually. Number four, there's just a group. Right? That covers it. Am I right?
Yeah. Also in our experience also too, we had like songs that were sent to us from other writers that weren't just us, and then we would like add to them or change them.
That one's just
that was like the creative process.
yeah.
to
That
me.
was not the that was
Yeah.
creative. Okay, so I think we should start with the group thing actually, because that's how we started. Like, I wrote some stuff on my own. You were writing some stuff on your own. Had you guys written stuff on your own when we were at the time doing our group sessions, or had you not
Wait,
written much on your
which
own?
one? Which group?
The very beginning when we came here to LA, and we started doing group writing sessions.
Lauren has been writing songs since she was.
Yeah, I'm
birth.
saying you two. That's why I said.
Oh, you two. I was like, you two.
Had you two written any songs on your own yet?
No.
I started writing poetry like in an emotional kind of songwriting type way when I was 16. I wrote a lot of poems. I had like boxes and journals full, but then I wrote a few songs. I feel like a lot of times in our group sessions I would present them and it just wasn't the vibe. My poetry was not the vibe, so it just kind of didn't really make it in. But I had a lot of stuff that I would write. It just wasn't like the vibe for what we were doing.
Except for when she accidentally put a poem on my bed. And I thought it was her being like, hey, I got these lyrics. You should make it into a song, which I did. Which was it? Which
brand
was
new.
Brand new.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Also Alive.
Yeah.
was a poem.
Good one.
So sometimes your songs would, or your poems would turn into songs. So you were really writing tons of lyrics, basically, aka poems.
This was funny because I, as a teenager, before the internet, I literally spent, because I didn't have a phone, and we had like, what, 6 of us, maybe 5 of us, 4, whatever, sharing one computer. I didn't get about a ton of internet time in. But I would just sit there and play guitar and sing random like Taylor Swift and Michelle Branch songs like all day. All I did was like play music for myself, and like I wrote some lyrics.
You were
and
like
stuff.
a Taylor Swift.
Yeah, I wrote lyrics, I think, and I wrote some songs, but I don't remember any of them. But I think I had an orange notebook. I can remember that I would write down my songs in, but I don't remember how any of them went.
So we started with all these group sessions, and do you
Those
remember?
were painful.
They started out, and oh my gosh. I remember our manager told us that songwriting should be painful, which now we can say,
what?
wrong.
Also, isn't she not a songwriter?
No,
And she wasn't a songwriter, yeah. She was a really big manager, I will say. She had a lot of experience, but yeah, that was not right. That the pain we were experiencing was like lack of creativity, like not inspiration in the moment. We had no inspiration.
And they were just so awkward.
And being like pushed, forced, pressure, like just like you can't in touch with your creativity. So you're like trying to force out an idea when you're not inspired. That is not it. So we did all these group sessions at the beginning, and a lot of them were just not very fruitful because we were like we were really scared to say stuff in the beginning.
Yeah.
We'd be like, what about, like, even just in front of each other, be like, so guys, what about this idea? Like, you throw an idea and no one says anything, and you're like,
Yeah, I would say the best one we ever did was Liz Rose.
Yes,
and I feel like she was I feel like she taught us a lot.
she did.
I mean, we learned a lot from a lot of different songwriters, but I feel like her especially. Her process was really like good and authentic for us.
Yeah.
If you know who that is, that's Taylor Swift's original like collaborator in the beginning. We learned a lot from her. That was helpful. But in the beginning, it started out with that. Like, we were all so scared because songwriting as a group is so vulnerable because you're like, what about this line? And then you don't know if people are like, no, that sucks. And you don't know if someone says your line was bad when you're at this vulnerable place, you can be like, freak out. So we all did that for a while and got over it. We all got over the fear.
Yeah.
And we learned, and we would see other songwriters do it. They'd be like, okay, guys, I'm going to throw out a really dumb line. Like, that's, people would say stuff. I'm trying to think of things they would say.
Who was it? Was it
Well,
Jen?
Liz Rose would always say, like,
She like, this might be really dumb.
she would always say
here's
hers
an
were going to
idea.
be so
And who
dumb.
was it who said dare to suck? Someone said that, and that always really stood out to me.
Too bad Lisa's not here. Lisa would remember all of this.
One of these songwriters we worked with, they were like, dare to suck. Like, it's okay to throw out something bad. It kind of just like lightens the mood a lot.
Yeah.
They had all these different things, like tips and tricks kind of things like that they would say, and we would pick up on them. And a lot of them was a similar sentiment. It's just like, okay, what about this line? Could be horrible, whatever. And I think that's kind of also how we learn to like get over it. Like seeing like these, we worked with some really big songwriters, seeing them not be scared to throw out something, and also seeing them throw out horrible lines, I think built our confidence up a lot, and also showed us like, okay, this person who's really successful, they put themselves out there, they say something that nobody likes, and they don't get hurt, they don't get mad, they don't get like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like triggered, irritated by you. And we're like, okay, we could do that. So our confidence grew slowly in that way. And then we would start writing on our own. So group writing, let's talk about a song that we wrote together, maybe later on. Or what was a really good collaborative song we wrote together? Like, I was thinking, is Skin too recent? Should we go back a little bit in the middle? That was a very collaborative one. Before that, what was so collaborative? I mean, but Kath still brought that to us. But it was still collaborative.
Yeah.
So it's not that much to say about collaborative process. Basically, Kath wrote chorus and... Was it just the chorus?
You wrote a chorus with a melody and chords, right? And then like lyrics.
Yeah,
Lyric ideas?
Yeah, I wrote chorus, and then I wrote a lot of the bridge too, like the...
Oh yeah, you came with that. You came with some different lines that you know where they were gonna go.
I am a mother, but it was a little different.
Yeah.
So I had a couple different sections. I didn't have the verses. I had a lot of lyrics for the verses, but I didn't have like the If Beauty Was Skin Deep. I had that, and then some of the other ones. But I just didn't have melodies for some of it.
So let's try to explain to them, like if they're trying to write with someone else. Like writing with someone else, how did we do it? Basically, all it was like
just throw it out.
We would talk about what are we trying to first we would say like sometimes you don't know. That's the first thing that always happens in song sessions. It's like, what are we trying to convey with this song? And sometimes you're like, I don't even know what I want to write about. So you kind of need to figure out what on earth you want to write about. And it could be like a feeling, a specific concept, like where is the song going, right? Like what are we writing about? Like I'm thinking of, okay, we wrote with Kesha's mom. She was a songwriter. She wrote with Kesha too. And I remember when we were talking to her about all the stuff, and she was trying to get a grasp on us, right?
I wasn't there.
You weren't there?
We weren't there.
I wasn't in a lot of
Oh my
these.
gosh. Okay, well, we were
was,
talking
like,
to her all
12.
about it, and then she was like, you guys are like the anti-Kesha, which is kind of weird for her to say. But she was getting grasp on like who we are. She's like, so what do you do for fun? Because it was like very different.
Well,
like not
she,
being like really into like drugs or alcohol or anything at this whatever, and we were younger too, but still it was weird. So like I just remember talking to her and her like getting a a grip on like who we were
She
and
wasn't
what we're writing about.
like a country writer too.
Yeah, the way
Well,
she
they're
wrote,
from here.
the way she wrote was really cool.
I feel like we kind of realized I don't know if I don't speak for everyone, but I know for me, I was like, I feel like we really connected with people that had country writing, like the way that they tell stories. A lot of those people, it felt a lot more soulful than a lot of the pop writers that we worked with.
And people in LA would really talk about people in Nashville, like, oh, those are the real writers. They would like talk down the people in LA, even though they're in LA, and talk about how the people in Nashville were so much more talented at songwriting and so much more musical. That would happen a lot. But anyway, so when we're writing, you kind of figuring out what are we writing about? So with Skin, we're like, okay, where does the verse go? Is it an uplifting, like affirming verse? Is it telling a story? Is it setting up the like a certain place? Like what's the emotion of the verse? Sometimes it's like we're affirming, we're like building you up with this. Sometimes it's like we're letting you in and we're like going deep and being vulnerable and like kind of like connecting with you and showing you something vulnerable here. So what would you say are like tips for like group writing?
Well, I will say for that, when us three, this was when you were out.
Yeah, when you were
we
out. Tristan.
wrote
Maternity
that. Yeah, we wrote that like verse and pre together, and I just remember being like, okay, guys, so we have these lyrics from Cap. Let's just write this really fast. And I was just like at the piano and I was like, okay, let's just go with like the first thing that comes to mind and like just making up chords, melody. Like, you guys like that? Yeah, sure. Okay, how about this line? Okay, how about that? Cool. Boom, 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 boom. We just like did it super fast. We're like, let's not even think about like it that deeply. Let's just write it and then we'll come back to it later and see if it's good. And we came back to it later and we're like, okay, it's good.
And that is a huge strategy and part of our writing that we've discussed before. That might be the number one strategy and the biggest tip we have.
Don't think, just feel.
Whether you're in a group or individual setting, this is the number one tip for songwriting, I would say, which is, and I was just saying this girl I was DMing, she was asking me for tips
Like
on songwriting.
finish the song?
It is, do not judge anything you're writing when you're writing it, because it can like immediately, like instantly stop the creative process, stop you from writing. As soon as you get in your head, you start thinking, is this good? What would someone else think about it? Is this going to be successful? Or like any random thing you think, would people like this? Would my label like this? Would my manager, anyone you're thinking, would my mom like this? Would my sister, whatever. Will people think I'm weird? No. As soon as you start judging what you're writing, you like shut off your creative brain and you're like ruin your writing. So we have these different things we'll do where we're just like, okay, write it really quick and just finish. Just finish the verse or just finish the song. Doesn't even have to be good. Just finish.
Yeah.
Which at first when we got this concept, people would do this in writing sessions. They'd be like, let's just finish, right?
Yeah.
And I'd be like, what's the point if you know it's not good or if you don't know it's good? And we realized the point is it's a weird trick. It's such a weird trick. You can write something and think it's horrible. And the next day or the next
You're
week,
like, it slaps.
you listen to it and you're like, oh my gosh,
Literally.
wait. You're like, wait a minute. How is it possible? The human brain is so weird. How is it possible to listen to it and be like, this is horrible? Come back and listen and be like, wait, that is so good. Makes no sense, but that is real. That is very real. Just like how women, okay, I know this is a weird one, but like how women can look at their bodies and judge them and then look back at themselves later and be like, why did I judge myself like that? I was beautiful and I thought I was horrifying, right? This is the same, I'm telling you, it's the exact same thing as, if we could just do it with ourselves, be like, no judging till the end, till the end of my life, you can do that. But anyway, that's a trick we do all the time, and I do it all the time where I'm like, just finish it. It does not matter if it is absolutely horrible. Just do it.
Yeah.
And being like, how fast can we do it? Just do it fast.
Yeah.
That's another trick. Just do it really fast. Just finish it, whatever. That is the number
It's like
one
taking
tip.
the pressure off to open your creativity up.
Because when you finish it, then you could go back and judge it, analyze it, think about. But if you have nothing because you wouldn't finish it because you kept overanalyzing and criticizing yourself, you have nothing to go back and learn from. You can't grow from it, blah, 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 blah. There's literally no point. This would go for any writing. If you're like trying to like write a book, but you're like feel all the pressure and you're like, I just want it to be perfect. You need to write it before you can actually judge it. You have nothing to judge except for you sit there and you write like one sentence. You're like, oh, that sucked. Okay, great. So now it's been like months and you have one sentence that you thought was horrible. Imagine how much you could have written if you would just write a bunch of things that you thought, just write something bad. Write something bad. It's just like trying to ride a bike. If every time you like started to stumble, you like stopped riding your bike, you're like, I'm not going to ride my bike until I know I can ride it perfectly. But you refuse to ride it until you can ride it perfectly, but you can't ride it perfectly because you haven't ridden it.
Yeah.
That is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's way easier to rework something that you already did than to you have nothing to rework if you don't write it.
Yeah.
It's just way easier.
So sometimes we do, one person will, that's what happened with this one. One person will write a song and bring it to everyone. So let's each go down the line and say, this is a common question of songwriting, where it's like, what is your songwriting process? What do you start with?
One thing.
What do you start with and how do you write? Because there's a lot of different ways to write and there's a lot of different things you could start with. So down the line, each person tell us, what do you start with and how do you write? What is your
Like
process?
most common way.
All the ways you write. Tell us.
Okay. Okay. I think the most common way for me is I say something or think something and I'm like, oh, that is an amazing lyric. I need to use that.
Yes,
And sometimes it comes with like a melody to it and sometimes it doesn't. But generally that's where it starts. And then whenever I get a chance to like go like record, then I start recording the whole thing. I don't generally write like just me at the piano. I think because I'm such like a producer too, that I'm like, it's about the sound of the song. It's like it's hard for me to even tell sometimes if I like what I wrote, if I don't have the right vibe of like the track that I'm going for.
Yeah.
Like I can't tell if it's hitting the feeling right
Yes.
if I can't hear like the sound with it.
That is
Interesting.
true.
But some things I write and I'm just like, this is really good. I don't know what the sound's gonna be. Well, yeah, when I write it in my head, I know what I want it to sound like generally. Like I know the vibe generally. So that's probably most
girls
common
know
thing. And then sometimes I will just start making like a track or just chords or something, and then I'll just like riff over that. But that's more if I'm like in a dry spell, haven't had much organic inspo. But yeah, I feel like I don't really do much like, oh, this thing first and then that, besides just like, okay, I come up with like a line or a concept. Like I like write the lyrics and the melody and the chords and the whole track and record it all at the same time that I write it. I don't really like write stuff in like a voice memo unless it's like I'm gonna go record that later.
Gotcha, yes.
Like you had a melody idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like to leave it at that.
Wait, that's
Like
so
otherwise I'm
interesting.
like, it's not that good, I guess, because I wasn't that compelled to record it.
Oh, interesting.
That actually
Yeah.
makes a lot
Like
of
I
sense.
have like a really strong idea of what it's gonna be when the idea comes, or I don't. But when I do, that's generally when the song actually gets finished.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
Okay, Kat.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know you could have like the sound in mind. I've never done that.
What?
Wow.
Okay.
I
then
did
tell
not
us
know
what
that.
you
Okay,
do.
so for me, my songwriting process is very similar to how I write poetry, but a little bit different. So I always start with a feeling. It's always like I have a feeling, and this is sort of how I process life in general. The way I describe it is it's a black bag, and I'm like, there's something there, and it's kind of heavy, and I just reach my hand in and I'm like digging around, like, what the heck is this feeling? And then I'm like, okay, what images describe this feeling? And I think of images and I try to describe them, and then the next element of it is what is the rhythm of this feeling? So it's like some feelings are like word wise. It's like just very few words, a couple of words, stop, a couple of words, stop. And then some feelings are like very, very chaotic and a lot of words crammed together, really, really busy. And so I feel like that's just one style or the other based on how you're feeling. And then if I'm doing a song, then I would probably add the melodies next, and the words would just kind of be fragmented, like here's an image, here's another image, here's another image.
Interesting.
But then sometimes it's like there's like for instance Skin. That was more of like I had a group of people I was thinking of, which was SA survivors or trauma survivors, and I was like, I want them to feel I want them to have a song that reminds them of their human dignity, what would I say? Like, and I was trying to think like, really what would God say too? Like if I was like trying to channel like what would God say to people if they were like felt like they lost their dignity? How would I remind them that they have dignity and worth? And then I always think of the sections of a song as like bridges, like not a bridge literally, but like a bridge like that a car would drive over. So it's like, okay, this message in the verse, this is saying this. So how does that connect to this next part coming up? The pre-chorus. Okay, the pre-chorus is saying this. How does that connect to the chorus? And what's the overall, like the overall message of Skin was your identity is not in your body. Your identity is in your soul and who you are as a person. And so like the bridge was like, I am a mother, I am a daughter, I am a sister. It was supposed to be like, what are some identities that no one can touch or change them? So I feel like there's multiple elements to it, but to me it's very like lyrical and rhythmic. I would say that's the biggest part to me. The melodies are the hardest thing for me. I just try to think of random stuff, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's not that good. But it's mainly the lyrics, I would say.
I feel like mine is like, it's so random. But it's like,
So
no, it is, but it's always like, it kind of always happens the same because it's not like super structured, but okay. Basically, I will start with like I'll have a line about something that has happened to me, and I'll be like, oh, that I need to write into a song, but I don't know the day or the hour, but like it'll pop into my head and I'll find like a melody. I'll like I'll think of a line and then I'll sing a bunch of melodies randomly when I'm driving or when I'm just thinking if there's a line or something that I really want to write a song about, which it's so random. I do love songwriting. Wow, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, ooh, I gotta do this soon.
That's what I was just thinking.
And like that'll pop into my head, and then I'll have this little piece, and then sometimes I'll have to like I'll sing part of the piece and then I'll put guitar over it, or there's sometimes where I'm playing guitar. I need to play guitar more, and then lyrics that I was been thinking about pops into place with the melody over a guitar part that I'm playing. So it's kind of random. And then what I have to do is there's one song I wrote the whole thing basically when I was on a walk. So I didn't have like a guitar to play it with, which was super random, but I just like wrote the whole thing and I like just sang it all into my phone while I was walking. I was like, I know this is good. I know what I want it to sound like. And so I'll have like the part, and then I'll make a track for it when I only have a small part of it. Like there was one thing where this was so random. I had just like been ghosted by a guy, and then I remember making an acapella 6-part harmony thing to one line of All of a Sudden I'm Alone Again. And then I always had that in my brain, that melody and that words. And then I wrote a whole song of it years later, which is so weird. But anywho, so I do that. And then, so I have a part of a song, and then I start making a track for it. And then to write the parts that I don't have, I just play the track and just sing over it and like ad-lib lyrics to the melody. And then that's how I make a song. And then I put a bridge in, because bring back bridges. People have canceled them.
I love a bridge.
They have literally, this new Gen Z songwriting canceled bridges.
Yeah.
I love bridges.
I don't know
I
why.
love
Every
them so
song
much.
is like 2 minutes, and it's like verses.
The
and
bridge is the
choruses.
most iconic part of the song.
Literally.
Okay. For mine, I feel like we all have a lot of similarities, or I have similarities in every single person, which is interesting. But as we're thinking, I was like, literally, songwriting is one of the biggest joys of my entire life that exists. Number one hobby, basically. Only one of two things happens. Like with Waste Your Time, for instance. Put your head in mine. Literally just popped into my head. But I'd already been wanting to write a song with that kind of vibe. But just the melody and the lyrics popped into my head at the same time. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to record that. Oh my gosh. That happens. Or I'm sitting there feeling some kind of emotion. I'm like, I need to write a song about this or I will die. Like I can't find a song to listen to. It's just like this overwhelming feeling that you have to write or you will die. So I'm like, I have to write something. I'm dying and itching and gonna die if I don't write this. So I get that itch. I'm like, I have to write. So then normally nowadays I can't just go up and write. Before I would just go and write. Now I'll be like in the shower, on a walk, in the car, and I'm like, I gotta record anything I can think of and just get it down because I don't have the luxury of just going up to my laptop and just recording and writing. Oh, it's so painful. But I like to sometimes just sit there at the piano and write and just be like, and like pour my heart out. Or same thing as Lauren, I go and I'm like, okay, I know I'm writing a song about this emotion and it's got to have this vibe. So I start on a track and basically I'm like furiously trying to keep up with my brain. Things are like pouring out of me so quickly that I'm like, I'm like really quick, like trying to get it out. I'm like, record that before I forget it. And things just like come so fast that I can't keep up with it. And then if I do get like stuck on something, I love to ad lib and just riff and just play. I like to just play a verse and then just sing whatever comes to mind. And a lot of stuff like on our songs that I've written has been me just randomly singing whatever came to mind. And then I'm like, wait, that was actually really good. So sometimes I'm like randomly singing, but sometimes I'm like, I have to write about this thing. I have a hard time with lyrics. That is really challenging for me. Like thinking of what I'm feeling and translating it into a melody is easy. Translating what I'm feeling into a track, easy. Translating what I'm feeling into words is so difficult because I think of things in just very black and white, literal, like the most boring sentence I would say.
That
it's
is
just
wild
like,
that you can think
you
of,
betrayed me. I'm like,
that's wild that you can think
just
of
gonna say that.
melodies that describe emotions.
100%. That's
I
so
mean,
much
I
easier.
would say you're very good at that, and I never even thought about that. That's a thing. That there's certain melodies that describe emotion.
Wait, that's so
well,
real.
in the track, the musical aspect of the feeling to me,
Yeah.
but the lyrics, I just am. It's so difficult for me to think of something that's not so dumb. That's like I said, just like I am mad at you, and then I'm like, how do I make that into something somewhat poetic? How do I make it so not so on the nose? So I think that fully described my whole thing. I've written so many songs in the shower, wherever I am. I will just get them. I'll write it in my head. I'll write the whole thing in my head. I'll write the whole thing on the piano. I'll write the whole thing on wherever I am. I just have to get it out, and I'll do whatever I can with wherever I am, and just record it and get it the heck out of there. And most of the time, it's one of those two things. It's that itch to write. Gosh, writing is, if you are thinking of writing, I just have to say it is one of the absolute best outlets and like best hobbies, like just the best. There is nothing like the feeling when you are like getting close to the end of the song or like you're in the middle of the song or something, you're like, this is
so
good. And I
yeah.
know it. You're like, this is so, it almost feels like when you're starting, it's like this risk, like, am I going to show this to my sisters? Is this like good enough to show them like what I've been writing? Are people going to like this? Is this going to go anywhere? It's like this risk, like, and then when you know, you're like, oh, that
That hit.
TBH, when I did Wheels in the Bus for Sim Kids, I was like,
You knew.
oh my gosh, that is so good. That feeling where you're like, oh, I have done it. Oh my gosh, I have done
Love
it.
it.
So
And
good.
there's like this really
It's
special,
euphoric.
not for Wheels on the Bus, but when you've gone through something, really painful or really hard, and you turn that into a piece of art that you're really proud of.
There is nothing
That
like
is,
it.
yeah, that feeling is like euphoric. It's
And
like, wow.
when you have something you wish you could say to someone and you cannot say it, but you put it into a song and it perfectly,
it's like an introvert stream.
it perfectly expressed your feelings. You're just like, you feel like heard by yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people can, and then you can put that song on. People can hear you without you actually having to tell them like the specific details.
And no one can criticize how you're feeling because you're just getting it all out.
It's just
the
a
best.
song.
Yeah, just lyrics.
So that's the last thing I would say on this for you all. If you want more stuff on songwriting, we could definitely do another episode. If you have like more specifics we should get into, let us know. I don't really know exactly what it'd be, but let us know. Everyone should write, whether it's just words, whether it's just music. Like you I think everyone should create something, or maybe not write. Everyone should create. Everyone create something. I don't know if it's writing, if it's music, if it's some kind of art, if it's there's so many things we do. So many things.
Woodworking.
If it's wood, it could be that. It could be anything. But
Gardening.
everyone,
Collaging.
I think, has it in their heart to create something. You have this like this itch, and you're like, I need to get this out. I need to create something. So I think everyone should create whatever it is. Anyway, let's get off that soapbox. So let's do our 5 pugs. Okay, Ariel's question of the day, she says, which is, what is your favorite brand of sneakers?
Oh, I don't know.
Of the... Okay, I can say it.
Okay.
Oh, you want to go?
I think Vans.
Okay, here's my problem. Unlike Lauren, Lauren's like, oh, this is cool, whatever. Mine has nothing to do with the look, so I have a dumb answer, okay? Mine are Pumas, and they perfectly fit my unique foot.
That's not dumb.
And I've worn them for 4 years, the one pair. When I'm getting a new pair of the exact same shoes, I'm very much my dad on that, except for not the 4 years part.
Yeah, he would never.
So I gotta say it's Pumas because I never had something so perfectly fit my unique foot.
Maybe platform Converse.
Yeah.
Or the cool shoes that you got me. What are those?
Reeboks. Do you have any other Reeboks?
No, I just love those.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the big Adidas, Nike,
Adidas.
New Balance.
Which one
Converse,
is, okay, so
Vans.
your kind of vibe is like Converse, right?
Yes.
Or the platform ones. Which one is my vibe? Your vibe, yeah, Vans, I can see that for you. Adidas.
Yeah, like
Right?
the
You used to wear
superstars.
the
Yeah.
It's like
all the time.
clean,
Yeah.
Mhm.
simple, that's me.
It's Adidas,
And
and
also
also
a
more
little
like
sporty.
soccer
Yeah.
vibe leaning.
They give a little sport vibe, which kind of fits with you.
As an athlete? Okay,
Yeah.
Kath, what's yours?
Well, I've owned so many Adidas, but like the running shoe ones, but just because they're comfortable. I would say aesthetic wise, it's probably Converse.
You used to have so many
I know.
Converse.
I want to get another pair of Converse. It's been a while. I love Converse. I've worn so many pairs like to the bone.
Yes.
So
I
I need
will
to get
say
more.
I got one pair and I wore it one time and I said never, ever again.
Yeah, it's so different on everyone. I like that they're good for like, I have pretty narrow feet and I feel like they're a good fit for
I
me.
The
don't.
platforms are 10 times better for support.
Well, I got my feet measured. I know they're so small so they don't look like whatever, but they are very wide even though they're so small.
Interesting.
That's my problem. Yeah, I know they don't look wide, but they are for like how small they are.
Interesting.
So that's why I hate them. And you have
Oh, okay.
I
I see.
Oh, that actually makes a lot
and I have
of
such a
sense.
dramatically shocking arch. Anyway, moving on to Sister Spotlight,
Woo.
where each week a different sister takes the steals the
stand.
spotlight. Not really at all. So we have Get Real with Christina, Sappy or Sassy Thoughts with Kath, Lisa's Corner, Amy's Rants and Raves, Lauren's Take. Boom.
What is going on?
Amy's phone is playing.
What is it
Wait, what
playing?
is
I don't know.
Okay.
It's an audio message from someone. Oh, from Catherine. But in
What?
what text and why? I
Probably
don't
her
know.
notes on the song.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
You're in the band chat.
this week, did we say it? Is
Dun, dun.
Ding! Lauren's Take, which these questions are generously provided by
Our Patreon.
Patreon.
members.
Oh, okay, good.
You
Okay.
know, in the Grinch, when he says generously,
Provided by the
By the taxpayers of Whoville.
Her car.
yes. Oh, it's so good.
Oh, that is
Okay, sorry,
too
continue.
good. I love the humor in that. Okay. Let's see, guys. Let's see what we got. Okay. Olivia says, I look up to your fashion sense and style a lot.
Don't we all?
What are some fall trends / looks that you like and or dislike? Stable pieces, except.
Follow up.
Fall pieces
Oh.
that you like or dislike. Or staples. Just, it's kind of giving general thoughts on fall fashion from a follower of your
I
style.
haven't really thought about this fall yet, so it's
Do you
hard
have
to
different things for
say.
each season every year?
Sometimes I do love a prep look in the fall. I will say, like the long
Classic.
You
coats.
do.
Yeah,
Like a Gossip Girl-esque.
Yeah,
classic.
and like I love like tights with skirts or like with shorts, and then like the boots with the socks. It's so like 2012 core, but I feel like it's classic. But yeah, I haven't really thought about fall that much. My first thought really is just I love a preppy fall.
I love it.
And I want to get those like motorcycle boots.
Yes!
I like
Wait, that
What
was
are
Lisa
those?
just slayed.
I'm gonna look it up.
They're like Lisa has a pair that I really like. I don't know how to explain what they are.
You just look
I'm gonna
you'll
look it
see.
up.
Yeah, you'll see.
Okay, Brooklyn says if you could collab with anyone for music, who would it be?
Lana Del Rey.
Queen.
Oh, these are too edgy for me.
Yeah,
Way too edgy.
it's
for
like
me.
too like
That
much
is
of a statement.
Way
for you.
too edgy
Yeah.
for me.
Sarena, giving Serena, says, what is your favorite / least favorite part of living with roommates? I live alone, but I have always wondered what it's like to live with people other than your parents.
Okay, I will say I do really like living with multiple people.
Yes.
I don't
Same.
like. I like the rare times of being home alone. I'm like, wow, so beautiful. But I like the chatter,
Hustle and bustle?
you know, if
Yeah.
I'm not asleep. But I like hearing the clink
The other day-
clinking. I like
The
hearing,
clink, the
you
stop,
know,
stop.
the water turns on.
Everything you say in the kitchen, okay? So
Yeah,
be aware.
I
And I was
can.
like, okay, I'm not like
I like hearing.
staging coups.
I'm just saying, from my room, I can hear your entire conversation in the kitchen
Oh, it was
when you're
more due to us
talking
being loud.
at
Was
8
that-
a.m.
Yeah.
when I'm asleep. I'm just
Yeah.
telling you, I can hear it.
Yeah. She was
But
saying that.
wait, what was the original question?
What is your favorite and least favorite parts?
I don't know. I just like having people around. Like, I
Same.
feel like growing up with so many siblings, I'm just used to like, I like people being there.
Yeah.
Just like
same.
hearing them, it's comforting.
I don't
but
like a quiet
then-
house too much. It's
yeah,
kinda
it scares
scary.
me. But then also, I do like being alone, and I like to just, you know, be in the kitchen alone and cook my food with no interruptions. But that doesn't
Yeah.
really happen. But I would like to do that. So yeah, I like
True.
that there's people, and then I also don't.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's when you
you win some, you lose some.
headphones. and listen
I
to
know,
whatever
but it's
listening
just
to.
not the same.
It isn't the
because there's a
same.
person's vibe. Like,
The vibes really, yeah. I get that. I get that. Let's see. Samara says, what's something you've been learning lately? I don't know.
what's
I don't know why that's
something I've
funny.
been- I don't think I learn things that much.
What?
Like, what am I
Well, like
learning?
in life,
Okay,
life
in life.
lessons?
Okay.
themes.
What I've been learning lately is how to regulate my anxiety.
That's a good
That's a
one.
really good thing to be learning.
So I need to learn.
Yeah, I'm like kind of slaying actually.
What do you
lately.
do?
What?
Yeah, do you
I
have any
don't
tips
know how
for
to
the
explain.
class?
Don't be stingy.
Well, I feel like I am able to catch really quick in the moment when I'm thinking anxiety causing thoughts and having an anxiety causing perspective, and I'm able to be like, no, that's not real, really quickly, because I practiced it so many times. I kind of know the lay of the land of what I'm probably thinking, that I can be like, okay, no.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I actually like, I don't know, it's like what was a long process for a while is becoming quick for me, and I just am noticing that like in the moment being able to calm myself very quickly. So not like, oh, now I have no anxiety anymore, but just like in the moment kind of stuff. I'm just noticing I'm kind of slaying at that. Just
I
saying.
mean, that makes a lot of sense.
So
You're like learning how to reason with yourself and like
kind of
care.
yeah. Well, just be
for your
aware of
brain.
like, oh, I actually don't have to think about this thing right now as like so like pressureful. I don't know. And just like, oh, that's not real. I don't need to stress about
It's
this
not
moment
even
right
reasoning
now.
it. You're like, oh wait, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, because I feel like I've like gone through that in my head so many times of like rethinking things that it's like
Yeah,
it's
you're not
so
even gonna
quick.
entertain it.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I
oh
love
wait,
that.
no, that's not what this is.
You're
We've
like,
been
not in
over
my
this.
Christian home.
Yeah. So
Love
that's
that
what
for
I've been
you.
learning.
You say that to yourself all the time. Not in my Christian home.
No, I'm more like
That's a great
we're not
strategy.
doing that.
I like not in my Christian home. Not in my Christian home. Okay.
Yeah, well, thank
that
you
all
for
the
your
questions?
take.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
For
Thank you
asking.
for the questions. Patrons, thank you so much for the questions. Once again, everyone watching who's not a patron, if you want to be a part of Lauren's Take, you got to join our Patreon, patreon.com/Cimorelli, linked in the description. And it is a great way to support us, on top of the fact that you get all the full episodes, all the extra content I was talking about, blah, blah, blah. You know the drill. Or maybe you don't. Maybe it's your first time you're hearing it. So go back and listen to what I said earlier if you're confused. But go check it out. Go check out our Patreon. See all the stuff we have to offer on there. There's different tiers. And it's a really cool place. And once again, it's a great way to support us, and we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. Like, really, it means so much. Being at this point in our career, 15 years, I just have so much gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, we're past that beginning point where you're just like excited, and you're like, wow, oh my gosh, I am so grateful for everything we've been through and everyone who has stood by us. I was going to say stuck by us. That's not it, is it?
No, you can
people
say
say
that.
That's like today I thought of you know when you put two sayings together?
Yes.
I was talking to myself a lot this morning. I was really going for it, but I was thinking I don't have a high horse to stand on.
You know what? I kind of like that.
Okay, so it's I don't have a leg to stand on, and I'm not going to get on my high horse here.
Yeah.
I don't have a high horse to stand on in this conversation,
Yeah.
but
Like the conversation with yourself.
is that, well, I was having a conversation with someone else
In
who
your
wasn't in
head.
the room.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't have a high horse to stand on.
I kind of like
Yeah.
it.
Isn't that kind of good?
Yeah, it's giving.
I was like, should I use that? I was like, I don't know if people will really like that.
I mean,
one.
it comes across.
I think that's pretty
I
good.
think it's funny.
Like, I don't have a high horse to stand on here, but like.
Anyway, that's that. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
You've been listening to the Cimorelli podcast. Follow Cimorelli on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube. You can also find Cimorelli on Facebook and Instagram.